What's up, Shinners? Welcome back to the Shindig podcast, where we get under the skin of the trials community. We've had a bit of a trend going on in the last few casts, so I'm going to say some oldies again, because you are. Close friend of mine as well from quite a few years back. We'll get straight to it. Some of you will know who he is. Some of you definitely won't. It's Mr. Ross Gardner, Rossy G.
Matt Pengelly, what's going on, boy?
Good, mate. How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, as good as it can be during lockdown, innit? But yeah, all right, man. Not too bad.
Making the most of it. Making the most of it. So where are you in the world today? Just so we know whereabouts are you? I'm
in sunny southeast London, mate, in a place called Catford. So yeah, south of the river. You're obviously north of the river. Yeah, it's all right, mate. I mean, it's not raining, it's not snowing. Happy days. We're doing all right.
Yeah, for once, actually, it looks like rideable weather right now. Despite us actually technically not allowed on group rides, I think. So I've had to skip the old Pompey ride. But what I like to do actually is always ask our guests. We'll get to know a little bit about you two, how we also know each other, if we know each other. So I usually go into a story of each of us, like what I'm going to try and think of what was your earliest memory of meeting me and what my earliest memory of meeting you was. I'll kick it off while I remember. I think because trials, you know how complicated it gets. We go to different trials rides, you see people on forum, because back then that's what it was. There was no Facebook, there was trials forum and the old YouTube. And you sort of know who people are. But my earliest memory, I think, would have been like, I want to say a memorial DJ ride. I think something along those lines, maybe like 2008 or something.
Well, the Pompey one or the one in Oxford?
No, it was a Pompey one.
Yeah. I think you're right, you know. I definitely spending a lot of time with you at Tarty Days. Like, I think that was like 2010 or something. But yeah, we must have met. Yeah, earlier than that. So yeah, DJ ride sounds like a good shout.
Yeah, I think that was it was my first time to Portsmouth as well. And I was blown away by seeing that many riders. I think I've been riding for maybe 1 or 2 years at that point. But that was like another kind of, especially for some of the listeners now, I think when we have this big reunion ride, or when we get another huge ride, anyone who's new to the sport suddenly just feels how amazing the turnouts can be.
Yeah, those rides are unbelievable, mate. Yeah, just so many people from like all around the country as well to come to somewhere like Portsmouth, which is like kind of hard to get to anyway. Like close to like 100 people on those rides. Obviously, it'd like break out and go their separate ways or whatever. But at the start, you'd like, it's just insane how many people there were from like all corners of the country, man. So yeah, when this reunion ride comes back together, like, I don't think I'm going to do any riding. I'll just be hugging people from like 10 to.
You're going to have a chance to actually ride.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you've recently picked up your bike again. I would say, before that. So, I mean, actually, no. Let's include up to here. How long have you actually been riding then? When did you start? Give us a little bit of your riding journey.
Well, if you count breaks, I guess it's 16 years now.
You never really gave it up, Ross. Let's be honest. No, secretly in the back of your mind, like, there's only really one thing I'm actually good at.
Yeah,
above average, actually.
Yeah, so true, mate. Yeah, when did I start? September 2005. That's when I started. Yeah, so yeah, right in the middle of the 2000s when stuff was really starting to kick off in trials, man. Like, obviously, all the big boys around that time, like the Select Bikes crew, like CLS, Porter, Neil Tunnicliffe. So yeah, that was like my era, and like what made me start. So I'm going to name drop in it. Do you know a guy called Martin Granger? He used to ride like way back on.
Do you know what? I actually did. Martin came to a ride down in the southwest at one point on the train. For some reason, I feel like his family worked in the train system or something. I don't know why I want to say that. Yeah. So he was traveling around the world for free. I do remember Martin coming to ride in Lou. Yes.
Yeah. So I was I just skateboarded at the time, and I saw Martin went to the same school as me, like same year and everything. We used to hang out, and he turned up one day. He cycled to school in an 04 Echo team. And I was like, what the fuck?
What's funny is no one cycles anywhere on a trials bike necessarily.
Yeah, so he turned up at school with the trials bike. I knew of trials, but like I never rode it properly. And I just looked at this thing. I was like, that bike looks fucking unbelievable. Like, let's give this a go, right? So instead of obviously buying an Echo team, which would have been like, I don't know how much at the time, £1,000 or whatever, ended up getting a Mission Prodigy. You remember those things?
Oh, mate, I do. James Davies had one of them. I didn't have one, but I do remember that's the last bike I remember having a reasonably long seat post at one point.
Yeah, that was like, you could lift the seat up.
Yeah.
And these things were like less than 1,000 wheelbase or something. So it was like a clown bike if you put the seat up. But yeah, it started like cycling around on that, mate. Obviously at the start, it was just like climbing on top of benches and doing wheelies off them. So that's basically like how I started. Double V brake, you know how it goes, like some shitty freewheel. But yeah, it took me like a while. It took me a while to get into it because my bike was so shit. That might sound weird, but
no. I can relate to that. It took me it was 2 years till I actually had a bike that was something I could scream and shout about.
Yeah. But I actually got, do you remember armadillos? They were like a frame protector. So I got one of them.
I do remember a Velcro.
Yeah.
Like a soft Velcro. Oh, a shin pad for your frame. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah. I do remember that.
Purely to cover up the Mission logo because I found out the Mission wasn't cool. And I was like, no, I can't have this bike anymore. But yeah, I rode that for like 9 months. Obviously, like I graded it with like Maguras and stuff. But yeah, apart from that, just bog standard, mate. And then yeah, T Pro, and then just like endless supply bikes after that. I was like properly addicted. So yeah,
you caught the bug quite quickly. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think as many riders get to it, obviously we try any sport to see if we're good at it. But once you get that buzz, like I just stayed on the back wheel for like 2 seconds. Like that's impressive. Because I always found that trials was you 2 years and someone's hopping off a curb, and generally those people are like, oh wow, that's cool, do that again, do a trick. But I think once you get past one point, you start to get better and better, and some people just don't understand. They're like, that's the same trick, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, with that, so yeah, like obviously Martin Road, I had like a good like group of people like back in the day. Like obviously I didn't know about like Nick Goddard and Jack Meek, which were down the road. I literally didn't know about them. So it was just like a crew from my school. I think there was like 3 or 4 of us, but like after I caught the bug, mate, it was literally every single day, like after school, weekends. Like if anything was planned, I'd sack it off to go riding, like fully into it. But yeah, like you say, once you learn how to like back up, and then you learn how to kick up and figure out how to like let go your brakes and do that at the same time, like it was just like another world had opened up for me. I was like, oh my God, like I could actually like become okay at this.
There's a lot in there. It's the people as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just had a good group of people. They were like,
and the people always. Oh,
yeah, I think we're breaking up.
I lost you there for a second, mate. Yeah, you see, now one of those times where I should have just asked no one to go on the internet. But, there's 2 people in the house, so this furlough thing is really damaging my my bandwidth on the Wi-Fi here.
How many have you got living with you?
There's 4 of us, but Tom's away at the moment. If you haven't noticed already, Tom's actually in South Africa right now.
Oh,
of all the places to travel to. And what's funny, 2 days ago, my sister actually flew there. Wow. Despite, so anyone wondering if there's a lockdown? No, went to Heathrow. It's all good and dandy over there. It's just like a normal day. It doesn't feel like lockdown in London, which is quite scary. But
yeah, it's a bit,
we're lucky. We're lucky here. We have everything that we need, and with a few less people. So
yeah, man,
plenty of space. All right, I'll do the important quickfire round. This time I actually remembered the questions. Most importantly, which I will start off with, is the Shindig question. I mean, this is the Shindig show, kind of, so we may as well dig deep into that. Can you remember and tell us about your very first ever Shindig, or your worst? Sorry, not your first.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess everyone remembers their worst, don't they? So, yeah.
Well, the best story. I mean, you always remember one of them.
I mean, there's a few stories, but yeah. So, like, the worst Shindig I've had. So I was out riding in Reading. This is probably about a year after I'd started. And I was obviously still side up in the wrong way. Say wrong way. So I'm left foot forward, I was side up into my left foot. So I went up to front on this wall and like obviously just bent the back end around like super horrible. Then went to kick off, and I knew that when I kicked off, my foot had already come off the pedal. So essentially I basically landed shin first on my pedal. And yeah, it ripped a huge hole in my leg, blood everywhere. Socks that I was wearing were obviously sodden, so I ended up wearing just like one sock the entire day, just trying to like stop this fucking cut. Yeah, apart from shindigs, I've actually cut my balls twice through riding, which has been like pretty scary. Yeah,
that is incredibly impressive. I think I'd much rather hear one of those stories, Ross. Please go elaborate.
I mean, there's a couple. So like
mystical disaster.
Yeah, so like one of them, I was out riding in Henley actually. Like I'd only just started by the T-Pro at this point, and essentially I was doing this drop gap. Maybe it was only like a 4 foot high wall, but it was down to a curb. And I just remember taking off and my back brake slipped, and I effectively like sacked onto my stem from 4 or 5 foot in the air. Literally just sat on it.
On your stem, like that's really high up the bike, man.
Yeah, I'd basically completely come off this thing. Yeah, I was trying to put my feet down, but obviously hit my balls before my feet. Yeah, just complete chaos. And so yeah, obviously like hand down my pants, blood everywhere, and I'm like, I was only 14 or 15. I was like, oh my god, what do I do, Mom? So, yeah,
yeah. I mean. Oh, it's probably one of the worst injuries I feel that anyone, any male can get. It's definitely one of the worst. Not one that I've known actually. A testicle injury. We might have to try and dig some more out for some people. That's the first one I've heard from a trials rider. If you know anyone, all the listeners, please get at us, because that's definitely a brutal one. That's definitely getting under the skin. That is.
Have you never sacked it though?
No.
Never.
No, I haven't personally.
Not like a rail or anything, like riding.
Well, maybe my balls aren't just big enough. It could be that, you know. I suppose trials riders have to have pretty big balls. So I'm not sure if I'm into that. Which rider sort of inspires you the most, do you think? Or what? Let me rephrase. Yeah, what inspires you the most to kind of get on out on your bike?
What?
We realise it can't always be people. So it might be a particular thing that you feel or something.
Yeah, I mean, like
videos.
So, like before lockdown, anyway, I hadn't ridden for like 4 years because I broke my foot the last time I went out riding, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like leave it there. But yeah, obviously, like lockdown came around, and I think it's the same. Obviously, a lot of people like started up again. It's just like you realise like what made you feel free. It sounds like so cliche and shit, but yeah, trials was that one thing that I was just like dedicated to, and I fucking loved it, and I loved the people and stuff. And I was like, you know what, like I want to give this another go. So I think it was more of like a nostalgic thing. The thing that motivated me, it was just like some of the best times of my life have been riding a bike, mate, and like going and seeing parts of the world that I was wanting to see otherwise. So yeah, I guess it was just like the nostalgia of it all really motivated me to get back into it. But obviously I'm in
relighting that fire, mate.
Yeah, obviously I'm in South London. Like London's a big fucking place, obviously. It's kind of hard to ride with anyone because like obviously we're not really meant to be going anywhere. You're in North London, and for people that don't really have a gauge on how big London is, me to you, what, an hour?
Still 1 hour, despite just to drive for 5 miles in London, it takes about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe more. So it's funny. They're like, "Oh, you're both from London. Should be really close." It's like we might as well be in Bristol in London almost.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to prepare yourself for that type of journey, and everything's so spread out. I can only say from experience, mate. I moved to London now 5 years ago, around that. And I didn't even ride it or go and meet proper riders for a good 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, it was just one of those things, everything's so spread out. It's not as easy to just get into the city. Like, yeah, you'd imagine there's like, wow, there's so much public transport. Like, yeah, but they're like the only ones that restrict you from taking your bike on certain things, etc.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a tough place to get out and ride, but it's, I mean, definitely not impossible. You need a lot of planning. I think I'm only lucky because Tomo, Mr. Tom Hutley's not here. You know, he's a black cab driver, so he knows everything about London and the spots, and he's always generally driving in the daytime.
Yeah.
On a shift, being like, oh, there's another spot, got that for the weekend. So I noticed that without that, even I just go out and explore, and I only found local spots like quite recently to our house, because we're like, actually, it's like this seemed to be more of a thing when you're a kid, you know. Yeah, you leave the house, get out and explore.
Yeah.
Try and find some other spots. So speaking of location, then, what is your favorite place? Where's your favorite place to ride?
Oh, it's a good one. I mean, there's so many to choose from, mate. Like, obviously, like radical bikes now compared to what it was like when I was properly riding, it's like unbelievable down there. Obviously, like Tom and like Mick and all the crew there have done like an amazing job in building that up. So that's like super sick. It's not far from my house at all.
You did get to ride there this last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I went once in the summer.
Back into it, I should say.
Yeah, so I went there once in the summer, but yeah, I'd love to go back there again, mate. It was wicked. But in terms of like actual street spots, like obviously Bristol is basically like the holy grail of trials riding for me. Just like the most insane spots, and you know the stuff that's been done there. So when you go there, it's just like, oh my god, like Craig Scott's done that gap, like gap. Water thing. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, Bristol, and then Portsmouth. Like, one of the main reasons, so I went to Portsmouth Uni, and one of the main reasons I went to Portsmouth Uni is because of the riding. I was like,
that was a contributing factor to your. That is so funny. So let me just get that right. That was a contributing factor to your, you know, your personal life path. How I went to Plymouth Uni, and it's my favorite place to ride. I probably thought about it, didn't even realize, but I guess self-consciously I was like, I'm not going far from Plymouth, because that's where one of the best spots to ride. It's interesting you said Bristol and Pompey. There was a Bristol ride on Sunday last week.
Oh yeah.
And now there's a Pompey ride. Group rides, we won't be able to do that, but I'm going to try and get out on my bike this weekend, just locally. I think in London.
Another one's Oxford as well. Have you ever ridden Oxford?
I actually have for the first time recently. Lovely Mr. Sam Wheeler and Josh Leach showed me around at the end of summer this year, and I'll definitely want to go back to ride there, because it was we're only there for sort of in the evening, so we didn't really get like a proper ride in.
The majority of the towns, majority of the cities obviously owned by the uni, so like the security's like super hot, but like if you get a good day where they don't come around and bother you, honestly, the spots in Oxford are like endless. It's so good.
That's what I thought. It's like the Oxford police are actually like university security, right? Yeah. It's like most of the city, most of the town is just a university.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, they just like come around in their buggies or whatever. It's just like, Jesus Christ, I saw you like 5 minutes ago, like 20 minutes down the road, and you turned up in a buggy again. Yeah. So they're like super on it. Yeah.
And you're one of the oldies, who I would say, who's come away from what used to be an old school geometry. It is old school geometry now. I don't think anything else is made for that. And the street bikes too, what's like super crazy pogo stick geometries almost. What are you riding right now, Ross? And how are you finding the differences in some of these?
Yeah, it's a good question, mate. Yeah, because when I bought a bike again, I was just like looking on the millions of Facebook groups that there are now, and I was like, Adamant A1. Okay, I'll buy that. I know what it's like.
Yeah, The classic Deng era, I would call it.
I was like, it's got a Pro 2, it's got a Maxis on the back. Like, it can't be a bad thing, right? And I got this thing, rode around on it, loved it, and then I went to Radical Bikes in the summer, met you guys there, and like I was just having to go on people's bikes, and I was like, fucking hell, like this bike that I thought was like still relevant couldn't be less relevant now. Insane. Like, I think the bottom bracket was like 10 or 20 rise, and like now bottom brackets are what, 70, 80? Like, insane.
I remember when someone got like a plus 75, 80 bottom bracket, but like, whoa,
yeah,
oh, you're like so much higher up the bike, and you probably get higher, etc., etc. But it's sort of watching videos now always change that little bit of style. I just feel like with the lower geometry or lower bottom brackets, you're seeing people doing taps and up to backs, right?
Yeah.
They're making the frame. This about must be about 5-6 inches in potential gap between the frame and the wheel, just because of how they're tapping. And now you've got to be so much more on top of the bike. You're actually seeing probably less people go straight up to back or tap, for example.
Yeah. I really noticed that. Like, the whole technique of trials has completely changed. Like, obviously no one taps anymore. That was the first thing that I really realized when I started going out again. I was just like, there's no one tap anymore. But
yeah, there are still some though. I mean, Chris Jackson, our Shindig ambassador, he is trying to keep the tap alive. I mean, he is Mr. TGS, so he's like, oh, I will, you know. He's actually just got I'm sure he won't mind me telling the world now. He's actually, he just got a Typhoon, a GU stock. So he's gone backwards, you know, back to the roots, and he's still trying to keep it real, you know. Some people are, I suppose.
Yeah, Chris's style's sick, by the way.
Yeah, he has got a little bit of a twang to his riding that we love. So, and he's always keeping me in check too, because you know we are all humans, and it's still hard to keep motivated to ride. And I have to be like, I just can't be up for pure laziness. It's cold, you know. I still question whether I'm like, I just don't want to ride. But we all have those people that doesn't follow it. For me at the moment, Chris is always just like, hey, where are we going this Sunday? Not are you riding? He doesn't give me a chance to even answer. I'm like, yes, we are riding, because I realize now, especially last year, I have to ride for therapy. It is my therapy. That is my downtime. That is my form of like meditation. Now I know everyone says, hey, you should go out and meditate, but meditating can be a different form in different ways. So definitely it excuse me, definitely it for me, that blocking out from the world. We always go into it a little bit, but it's just like the only thing I could really escape our fucking crazy ass world that we are in right now.
Well, I guess like going on that though, like when you're riding your bike, because you're like so in the moment with riding it, like you're not thinking about anything else because you're concentrating so much on like basically not hurting yourself. It's just like
I don't even try and think about not hurting myself. It's more of like the less the processing, the better. So if you're like, hang on, this is a flat wall to a flat wall, that's nothing. All I've got to think about is throwing my body there and gapping it. That kind of, you know, in the moment, thinking about that very thing. There's nothing else to worry about. Just wall, bike, here. I think that's the kind of the love of it. There's no processing involved, no thinking. That's why I always say, don't think about it, just do it. And I mean it in like riding sense. Which is why I've definitely taken that on board more. What's it? Typical Tom Hutley. Matt thinks he's going to do this to front. Well, I don't know, mate. I don't think. I'm like, I'm going to try it, mate. I'm going to throw it there. But reverse psychology works. It works for us here for sure. Now I'm going to open some of these up. I tried to find some oldie pictures of you, Ross, because you already said you're like, mate, it's fine if you want to rinse me, you can. But didn't have as much
mate,
research time as normal. Let me just see what I've got. A few pictures here that have absolutely no context.
You'll find some beauties.
No context. So
you'll find some beauties on there.
In true 2020 style, a window. Oh, I know why. Because they are not open there. Okay. Screen 2, that's what I want to share. Cool. There's some oldies in here. So if anyone who didn't realize, anyone can do this. It's a thing called Facebook, right? You'd be surprised what you can find. What I realized, there's no button. That Facebook hasn't created a button that basically allows you to go to the bottom, and I feel like that's why it took me about half an hour to scroll down. But let's go with oh, still the morning. I'm pressing the wrong button here. Right, shirting. Look at this. Rossy G, oldie 2, oldie 3. There's 5 oldies right here.
Yeah.
I wonder what. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at this one.
I can see a few of them. Yeah.
Can you see that one? Right. In true, I mean, this might have been when Ross was questioning his sexuality. I feel. For the listeners who can't see, Ross is in some Aztec tight skirt and a crop top. And now they are rushing to get to the computer to be able to see this. Mate, it's nothing to do with trials, I'm sure. But the only good thing in the picture is you're holding a beer, so there may be an explanation.
Yeah,
give us some context, mate.
I mean, it was final year of uni. I think it was like a couple of weeks before we actually finished full time, and basically all we were doing was drinking. So we'd been out the night before and woken up at my mate's house, who's still my best mate now. That guy, grew up with him as well.
Oh, that's so. I picked the right picture. Awesome, love it.
Yeah, just started drinking again, and picked up his housemate's clothes, and there you are, mate. Yeah, I've never felt more powerful in my life.
They look like they fit you really well, Ross, and that color, you color coded as well. The beer bottle is green and everything. So
nearly got some abs there as well, mate. Fucking hell.
I think that's just lighting, bro.
Yeah,
it's just the lighting on there. Yeah. I did definitely found a trials one somewhere. Here we go. So where are we? Give the story behind this. I believe it's in Barcelona.
Yeah, man.
I believe. Yeah. So give me a bit more context to what's going on here.
So yeah, basically, so where are we there? We're at the Monty factory in Barcelona. So what it was, so basically it's just like a Monty shop, obviously like dedicated to trials or whatever. And out the back, they've got a trials park, which is just like so insane, like loads of tires, rocks, pallets and stuff. And they basically like, you can rock up there and ride the entire day. So yeah, basically there was...
I heard.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah, I heard that I've heard this story before, basically. What I was going to ask is does that still exist? Does anyone know? Does that Monty, is it still there? Can you still
I'm not sure. I know there was talks of it closing down, and I don't know whether it had or not, but yeah. I mean, when was this? 2012. Yeah, it was 9 years ago. So yeah.
Can you name drop some people here?
Yeah, so we got Joe and Ollie Prattley on the left of the photo.
That's it. It's Ollie's brother. I was like, that looks like Prattley, but it's not. And of course, it's Ollie. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it's the first time I met those boys. Fucking legends, honestly. Like, great guys, sick at riding. Yeah. Obviously, Joe's unbelievable, but Ollie's good as well. He's really good at BMX now as well. And there's Neil Charner, who's like a bit of a Berkshire legend, mate. Like, he used to whip around on an orange Zero, like bunny hopping over people in like 2002, and then he became like one of my best mates. So yeah, I got him there, got Will on the right, and then me in the back of the van with Dan Lawrence, who's like one of my homies again, and then you got Woody with the back facing us as well.
Yes, that was from the helmet.
Yeah, man. But yeah, what that was, mate. Honestly, Barcelona, so sick. We drove there, so there's obviously the 3 vans. So Jack came. See Jack's van has got a little.
You could just see. I forgot he had his silhouette of him doing a meat flip on the van as well.
Loving it, yeah. I think there was like 15 of us. Like Wheeler came, Dan Gray, Martin. Who else was there? Phil Pierce. I think Jack on his episode was saying about when Phil woke us up in like that Mankini thing. I think he got into that.
Speaking of which, I think this is actually this will bring on to the next picture a lot better, basically.
Yeah, man, that is squad right there. Yeah,
that was the squad. I wanted to touch base on that a little bit because I know Jack did mention how good a trip it was, and Barca seems to be a very popular place for trip rides. You know, road trips on the bicycle.
The thing is with Barcelona as well, like forget flying there, like get your boys, get some shit van for like 500 quid and literally just drive there. It was like half the trip just driving there, mate. It was so fun.
Yeah, we didn't quite, we thought about going to Barcelona. I did a trip in 20. So this sort of spurred myself and some others on. We're like, hey, they've done a trip. We should do that. So Joe Seddon, me, Josh Kidd and James Davies, and we wanted to do the same sort of thing. Andre was like, I'll support you guys, and even Ben from Trials Addict was like, yeah, I'll support you as well, and Onza did the same. But what we just didn't drive to Barcelona because of how far it was.
Yeah,
we were like, I guess when you said it's most of the trip, we actually quickly decided like, well, we could just go to Belgium and go to the Alta, Trials Park, and then into Germany and France. But that is a commitment. I get to my point. That is a serious commitment to certainly to drive there and do that whole trip. I remember costing even the tolls alone are almost the price of the plane.
In France, mate, I think we must have paid close to 50 quid just to drive through France. It's a joke, yeah.
Yeah, typical. I mean, yeah, I think that was one of the only reasons we were making excuses. But there's definitely discussions at the moment of trips even this year. I know Ben, Trials Addict want to do a trip, Faction want to do their own trip, and me and Tom, we want to do a Shindig trip too. So that there's hopefully lots to come, and I'm sure we'll be able to dig into some of your pages.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah,
because I can't really see anything being, I mean, obviously it was 8-9 years ago. I really can't see anything being that different.
Yeah, so I think it took, how long did it take? I think like 18 hours to drive there, but we only stopped twice in 18 hours. So it's a definite commitment though.
I mean, so any listeners out there, it's forever. Anyone can go. If you've got a car, driving license, you're not afraid to go on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Get your ass over there. Definitely. There's a third one. What was this third one I had here? Hold on.
Oh man.
Yes. I up Matty as well to get him on the show, but this was a little call out because I came across this and just thought, what? This is, well, actually, you can give us a bit more context here, Ross.
Yeah, big up Matty Turner, by the way. He's absolutely ripping it up at the moment. So, like, obviously, back in the day, he was obviously like child prodigy. He knew how good he was, but now he's like actually turned into a man. He's obviously like taller and bigger. He's like an absolute beast now. But
bit of an adult almost.
Yeah,
he does go that way, doesn't he? It's quite scary because that's the first. Him and Charlie Rolls are like the first sort of people I knew as we were riding. We're like, wow, they'll be sick.
Yeah,
thinking that it was so far away, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, wasn't that last week?
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. So yeah, when was this? I think this was the bike show in 2012. So it was me, Matty, Joe Oakley, Neil Tunnicliffe. Who else came? Neil Charner as well, because I got him along. Basically, it was a demo for Phoenix, so Ian Johnson's clothing company at the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, like life moment, mate. Like reading MBUK back in the day, you'd always read about the bike show, and I got to ride a demo at the bike show. Like, I'm forever indebted to Ian for that because that's just like one of my life highlights, being able to do that. It was just like so cool. I filmed it as well for Phoenix, so I rode like a little bit, but I was largely filming it. But Yeah, man. You got some good press, good publicity.
Yeah. I think at that point, I don't know if I'll have to check. It might have been the year 2013 is when I joined the Phoenix team. I think it was the 2013 Radfest. But I think I still have that T-shirt somewhere. The proper Phoenix Bird one. Now that I'm thinking of the one that actually you're wearing. You've just made me realize, like, I'm going to try and dig out some real nostalgia. Ian, if you're listening, and wonder if he's got any of them lying around. You realize, being like, yeah, the old Phoenix days.
Like, I know there's been loads of clothing companies in trials, but that was actually one that you'd want to wear. Like, the designs were cool. It wasn't like some lame design and like
100%. I mean, that's why I was like, Ian, please, can I ride on the team? Like, I need a clothing sponsor because I'm doing shows and I don't look professional. And it was sort of like that. It was like, I just want to have someone's name to put along with my riding. And Ian was just like, mate, yes, absolutely. I was drawn to the designs and the actual idea of the clothing and stuff. Definitely one of the best clothing lines that we've had in trials for sure.
Yeah, sure.
But they quickly showed it's a tough industry to break.
Yeah,
in trials.
Yeah.
And I think it's shown now that you have to branch out and sort of do everything, trying to do some podcasts, do videos, and eventually, when we can, do our own event. Just try and give back to the community as much as possible. There's one last photo, mate, that there was so many, but I don't know what this is, but I'm just, dude, what is that? What is that? It's nothing to. Is it you? Right, it's you.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, obviously it's photoshopped. I'd like to think that I'm riding around on a purple unicorn with a leather jacket on.
But I really, really like this picture. It might be the Instagram picture of the podcast. I don't know why. It's just something about it. I'm going to describe it to the listeners. Yeah, Ross is on a big purple unicorn, wearing nice tight jeans there, a nice black leather jacket, very much looking the part, mate.
Yeah, very like a natural Top Gun thing going on. Yeah, broke back. Yeah, but yeah, when was that? So basically in between my second and third year of uni, I did a placement year at a video production house in London. And basically one of the guys there basically just did this as like a laugh, just to take the piss out of me. So yeah, he photoshopped my face onto this unicorn thing. But yeah, man, I mean, like that was another good year of my life in terms of like learning how to edit and like the way to frame things, like getting used to Final Cut and Premiere and stuff. So yeah, man.
Which is moving perfectly, segueing on perfectly to the next stage here. Just so our listeners, trials riders are everywhere, doing everything, all types of different strange jobs. What do you do? What do you have to do, Ross, to pay your bills? What do you do for work? For all our listeners who don't know, give us a little bit of an insight into that.
Yeah, so I work in advertising, but it's slightly off of advertising. So it's not a creative agency. It's so we do like production, adaptation, and localization. So to break that down a bit further, basically there'll be a brand, say Just Eat or whatever. Obviously they've got Snoop Dogg in it now. That only really
oh my god.
That only really
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Go on.
That only really resonates with like English speaking markets, obviously. So it'll be up to us to basically like localize that content, localize the VO, change all the branding within to be localized into whatever market, and then basically we reformat it and ship it out to wherever it's got to go. So if it's on social media, we obviously have to like reframe it, re-edit it, and ship it out that way. If it's going on billboards out of home, we do that as well. So it's like print, digital, and TV. So yeah, it's good, man. It's taxing though, like it's long hours, but it's good though because you can see what you've done basically everywhere that you go.
Yeah, it seems quite there's a byproduct to everything that you're doing. You know, so you can, whether you see it, touch it, feel it, whatever it might be. I can only relate to that, just being when something's fixed, finished, done, you get that excitement, you know, you're rewarded. Absolutely.
Yeah. You're killing it though, man, being at Twitter. Like, what a company.
I mean, I might have got lucky. Yeah, they sort of. I didn't even apply for the job. Luckily, I was headhunted. But yeah, you know, luck for me is opportunity meets preparation. So I was just in that moment where I was prepared. I was working with them on a freelance basis, coming in, doing their events, just job for job. Clearly made an impression, whether that's good or bad, it doesn't matter, because I made an impression, and then they were like, oh, okay, come back. And now I suppose, thankfully, using my job to create shit like this, you know, getting trials riders to make things for trials riders, I feel. And it's been amazing for me too, just to keep me sane. And keep me in check, because during all this time, it's hard for everyone to be at home. And any excuse for me to get on a video call with my old friends.
Yeah. I've said it to you before, mate, but like you and Tom are like, Charles has been crying out for a voice and a platform like this for ages. Like, obviously skateboarding as one. I know Ian does his own thing, but yeah, I mean, this is great, man, just to hear like people's perspectives and experiences, because everyone's different. No one's had the same path in life or in trials or anything. So it's great.
It's such a niche thing. It's so niche. It's one of those things that people that are listening to these podcasts are people that feed back to me. They talk to me. It's not just this passive thing. It almost feels like, you know, other people are making these discussions and that, and they'll have thousands of plays, but they not get anything sort of back from that, or hear anything, see that. So for me, the actual engagement I get with this, and the people that are reaching out to me, that makes it worth it. I'm going to name drop him now. I hope he listens at one point. Do you remember Paul Ruskin?
Yeah.
See, I knew you remember him. Some people. He was a great rider for me, you know, growing up as well. We rode a lot together. He always used to come down to Cornwall. But he just went silent, you know, nothing bad. I just hadn't heard from him for a while. I went to university, ended up moving south. Someone who lived in, was pretty north, up in the north, and then sort of coming all the way down to south to study. He's now actually the most southern rider. He's more southern than Rich Pearson. And he messaged me being like, hey man, haven't even touched or breathed the word trials in like 4 years, but I've just listened to a podcast. And it makes me want to and I'm going to go and dust my bike off. Now that sort of thing it just hits home so much. So I remember taking screenshots of it, sharing with the guys, being like, this is why I'm doing it. Especially somebody that I know who just probably hasn't felt that motivation. And it's hard to keep motivated with anything, not just trials. It doesn't matter, like, oh, I'm just not feeling trials anymore. It doesn't matter with anything in life. It's driving it, mate. So hearing that is really important, and I'm really glad that I was able to sort of kickstart it. I've been talking about it for so long. This is what I wanted. The most frustrating thing is, this is what I wanted to go and click and listen to, but it's my own fucking voice, so I don't. Just about edit it up, and then afterwards I'm like, all right, lads, let us know if there's any problems. But no, it means a lot, mate. It does. Thanks, because, you know, we're really trying to not necessarily push the sport, but just keep our head above the water. And winter is a time where, you know, you can just fall off the wagon, not do much in the spark isn't always there. You know, of
course, mate. Yeah,
we've already lost one rider now who's potentially quit. I'm not going to name drop them, but they've, you know, it's just not there anymore. The buzz isn't there. They found it in some other sport. So yeah, let's keep the excitement going, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one for me as well, because like you say, like with the bug and stuff, like I don't think I necessarily have it anymore in terms of, like, I know Joe Marr was obviously saying it on his one, like he doesn't have that drive to like want to ride to improve, and I don't have that anyway, because I'm never going to be as good as I was. Not saying that I was like this brilliant guy or whatever, but I'm never going to be at the standard that I was like 8 years ago. Yeah. It's more just to like get out and see people again, mate. It's the whole reason I picked it up. It's not to get better at anything. It's just
Yeah, we were. I think maybe 8 years ago, like you were saying, you're sort of going out on the intention, like, I want to do this gap. I want to try and get better at this and get better at that. Whereas now it's like, you may as well be just like chasing the dragon. You ain't going to get that buzz again because you've already had that buzz before. So it's just trying to find it in those new ways. And it makes, what I like about it, makes the smaller stuff fun again.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. Yeah.
And just doing that one very small, unique gap that you might have done before, it doesn't matter. You've done it now, and you kind of get it's all about the feeling of the sport itself, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, but then saying that, there's still people like that have obviously got the bug back again, like Max Hunt. You seen him ride? Oh,
dude, I rode with him on Sunday in Bristol.
Ripping it up.
You just wait for the video. Yeah, Matt, I've got clips of Max and Wheeler from
Sam as well,
from that day. I mean, Sam, someone that got back into it, someone that I'd never actually met. He'd stopped before I got into I don't even know what word to use here. The community, in front of the community or something. So for this many years on now, for me to have someone that I used to watch to ride to be like, there me one day hopefully, or hey, I need to watch him before I go riding to get in the mood. And for now, me to be going out being like, oh, should we try this together? You're like, that is, someone said that to me when I was at school. I'll be like, nah, no way, I'll never get like that. That's fucking next level. But it's really really nice to hear, and I think that's what we only get in trials. You just can't get that in BMX or mountain bike.
Yeah.
You can't get that. And it's so fun how most of us have, even of, an average level, we are still at the ability to perform professionally in display shows. Someone who's maybe on an average level, that doesn't necessarily mean it's average in trials, for example, but you compare it to the rest of the world and you're like, you're pretty damn good. You're a talented guy. You can show off your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice one. Mate, I'm just going to check my time right now here. You going to be riding this weekend at all? Have you got much planned?
No, mate. I mean, going to go out for a walk today, but yeah, I might hit up the bike tomorrow. But it's just like where to ride though, because there's like a couple of spots around here. But again, I'm going out on my own, so there's not really like a bug. Yeah, there's like spots though.
No, yeah, there are some. I'll hit you up, but me and Chris will probably ride a bit local. We'll give you a shout if we get some in the middle, perhaps. I'll let you know. But one final thing I always have to ask on: who do you want to see on the podcast, Ross? Who do you yourself personally want to see? You can name call them and be like, "Yo, get your ass on it."
I mean, his name's been brought up loads, and I know that
if you say it again, then it's just more emphasis on there.
Yeah, so obviously, like Nick G, it'd be like insane. Not just because of like just what he's done in trials, obviously like the videos that he's made and stuff, like how much effort went into all those Get videos, like went all around the world filming stuff. He'll have amazing stories. Obviously got a kid now, so it's way harder to get him on. But Ali would be good as well, but I know like might be hard to get hold of Ali. But
yeah, I hope it's part of his. I don't know if it would be not to his brand. Maybe we just. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna reach out to him. I'd like to think that he already knows we exist.
Yeah.
He's done Duncan's drop-in. But obviously that's a bit broader, doing a whole extension of different riders. Maybe we'll get to that. Shindigs can be done on a mountain bike. I had my only other professional friend is on a mountain bike. It's Tom. I said he rides for GT at the moment, which actually he won't soon. But it's definitely something we might branch into potentially. But we'll stick to what we know first.
Yeah,
what we know.
Get Joe
what we know best.
Get Joe Prattley on as well. He'll tell you.
Yes.
Great. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Prattley's on my list. I'm just thinking. No one said a name I haven't got on my list yet. I'm just getting around to getting one on there. apart from maybe like to see someone from Tarty Bikes who's not afraid to come on here. That might be a good one too.
Yeah.
Got to keep the discussion going, mate.
Absolutely.
Keep the content coming out. Mate, thanks so much for coming and chatting crap with me today. There is a video in the works right now of myself, you, and Captain Crash in London. I'm just not as quick as Tom Hutley at editing videos, sadly. That's just the bottom line.
Take as long. I was an absolute shambles on that round.
I think that's what makes the video. I've got a couple of bales of you, some bales of me, and obviously Captain Crash himself. So there is a video to come of Rossy G back out on his bike. Ross, where can we find you on the intraWebs?
So I've got Instagram. I'm not that active, but I'm on there. So that's RossyG41. That's my handle. Then obviously you've gone through my Facebook, so hit me up on Facebook. We obviously
on the Facebook. They're all those images I just showed you are public. There are other ones too. I think we all forget.
Yeah.
we all forget like what's actually out there and what people can find when they want to. So there you are, folks. See if you can find an even better one. I might have to do some more digging just for the Instagram post to find some oldies. I don't know if you saw Sam. I stole that from the Glass of Trials page when Sam Wheeler punches himself in the face from that. Absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
So sick.
I love it. Absolutely love it, mate. Very good time. Thanks again so much for spending your lovely morning with me. Maybe we'll see you out on the bike tomorrow. If not, hopefully we will see you very soon.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for having me, mate. Loved it.
No worries at all. You didn't even slate anyone else too much, Ross. It was very nice of you. Very nice of you.
Man, I've got so many stories to tell you.
I know. Well, I tried to. I'll be honest. I did try and get one off Wheeler. I was like, "Give me some dirt," and Wheeler was like, "No, Ross is too nice." That was his response. I was like, "Really? Damn you!" All right. All right, mate. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you soon, dude.
Sick. Cheers, Matt. Nice
Cheers,
one,
mate. Take care.
Ah, you